You had earlier spoken, I think it was in the last quarter, where you had said that you had applied for, one-third the visas that you had earlier applied for. But now the F518, visa system is just closed. If you could tell us, how many visas did TCS apply for, and how would it compare with the prior year, just to get a sense of how proactively you've reduced your dependence?
That comment that we had given earlier was last year compared to the year prior to that.
Right. So now we're in
F518. This year is similar to last year's. So we are maintaining a low regime.
So one-third of your historical average.
Approximately, yeah.
As a broad benchmark. Okay. Mr. Subramaniam, you spoke about, how Diligenta, the pipeline is looking very good, and therefore it should have a good year. The absence of drags from Japan and Diligenta are expected to be tailwinds for F518. So if you could tell us, what was the impact on the F517 constant currency growth because of a soft year on these two, on Diligenta as well as Japan? So which will not be there next year, so we could get a sense of the tailwind?
I mean, FI18, would you like to take that? Yeah.
See, if you look at overall APAC, which is where the bulk of both APAC and UK are the places where you see that coming through. APAC has done about 5%, UK has done about 6%. And a lot of the drag has come from these two entities in these markets. So while we are not quantifying that, we will have to wait for our full year annual report, where we will give you subsidiary level numbers, and that will give you a good idea about what that is. Japan has been a negative year for us, and Diligenta has also been negative.
So 1 to 2% would be the rough impact on F517 CC growth, which should not be there next year?
We haven't quantified that. I wouldn't like to comment on it. But as I said, you can see it in the impact on the numbers at the geographical level in UK and APAC.
Okay. Mr. Subramaniam, on India, it's been 2 good quarters on the trot. You've always classified India, at least the TCS management has always said India is volatile. But is something changing over there? Should we still classify it as volatile, or are you seeing signs of a sustainable pickup with respect to the India geography?
India will continue to be volatile, right? And I think, there have been always an yo-yo effect in our ability to build, book deals in the India geography. But we see that there is a lot of opportunities, right, which are coming in with increased government spending on digital. I think Digital India initiative is clearly...
And how are the margins on the Digital India spend?
It's quite comparable. It's quite comparable. And, India geography, the margins are always a tad low. But it is catching up, and it is quite, from a digital perspective, I believe that it is quite comparable to what we get in, let's say, an emerging market, right? I think, for example, we launched recently the Aadhaar Merchant Pay as one of the things, and that should do well, because that should really accelerate the digital payment ecosystem within India as well.
2 years back, I think TCS had spoken about how they're reducing their, dependence on India, and now suddenly with, spend coming up from the government on digital, that seems to be changing. What about communication? Q3 was weak, Q4 has bounced back, but what is the trend that you see on communication? Because I think even if your Infosys had a fairly good quarter.
Media, communication, telecom, there is, what we see is a phenomenal amount of convergence, okay? That has played out well for us, in terms of, CMI as a vertical has grown significantly, and for the first time, I think it has posted higher growth than the company average, right? So, we see a phenomenal amount of opportunities in that particular space.